you're talking about a guy, and as far as name recognition and as far as star appeal is concerned, Zach Edey's the second biggest name that's came through here since John Morant. Like, it's not even close.
What we've seen so far is what we've needed to see. You want to see physicality, check. You wanted to see impressive screen setting, check. You wanted to see him crashing the glass, particularly the offensive rebound, an area that the Grizzlies were the best at for years. As soon as January 2023 happened, when the end of that game, Steven Adams fell down over there in Phoenix. They've been mediocre and below average at offensive rebounding since. And then you wanted to see some edginess, honestly. Like I don't want a big nice guy that's sorry, I bumped you too hard. Yeah. Like you want somebody like that was
less about knocking your ass.
Yeah, off. That was me. That was me that just hit you. Yeah, what you gonna do about it? To see him protect Jake LaRavia like that, imagine when it's John Morant. That's Desmond Bain.
Tune in to the Anthony Sane Show Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Man, remember when G.G. Jackson used to be good?
one game in and we all rate it used to be. Are we stopping him now too?
At his age, I don't know. I don't know if he's ever going to get it. He struggled. Rough game one.
I think more than anything, this summer league is going to be a mental challenge for Gigi more than the physical challenge. Mentally be able to say, okay, I had a good year last year. I'm still learning. Don't think that you are any bigger than just a guy going into your second year. You're still just a guy going into your second year. Learn, but just the mental side, I think, will be huge for him.
Tune in to the Night Court Podcast with your hosts, Rob Fisher and Brevin Knight, on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of On the Bluff. I'm your host, Christian Fowler. Joining me, as always, the big man, Gabe Coon. Gabe, I'm back. How you doing?
Good to see you, brother. I hope the beach was great.
That's all I can say. Wonderful time.
Yeah.
Relaxing, chill, sat on the beach, ate good food. That was it.
Okay. Well, good to hear. Good to hear. I'm
Everything
glad.
a vacation should be, right, Gabe?
Yeah, we've been sitting in Memphis just, melting while you've been there. And
I heard it wasn't that bad last week.
It's always bad, buddy. It's always bad. Like, it just always feels like it's about to rain. You always are just like sweating in crevices that you shouldn't be sweating out of. It's never great. For a guy of my size, my stature, no. Kenny can speak for himself too. But hey, man, I'm glad to have you back. I really am.
Yep. Glad to be back. Did you do anything this weekend, Gabe? Anything of note?
Literally nothing at all.
Nothing?
Sat on my couch for most of it. I barely left my house. It was phenomenal, man. It's like, I got a kid on the way, so I have to get used to that too.
Yeah, it's true.
And it's not going to be a whole lot of outings coming up after my son is born. But hey, that's fine with me. I'm good. I'm good hanging at the house, being a homebody for a weekend. That's cool with me.
Did y'all? Dude, my timeline's so jacked up right now. So y'all talked about that last week, I'm assuming.
Yeah. We even put the video out there of me spiking the football.
Okay.
Which, by the way, you saw the video? Good form, good spike.
Yeah, I mean, I texted you and didn't get a text back. That was pretty cool.
I had a lot of texts, dude. I could go back and check. I'm sorry if I didn't text you back. Did I not even like it or heart it or anything?
Nothing.
I'm a piece of shit. I'm sorry. I still love you.
I'm not gonna
love you the same.
I was a little hurt.
Well, and I appreciate it. Let me just tell you in person.
Yeah.
I appreciate the text.
I think I texted you on Monday too, because for those that know me, when I'm on vacation, I don't touch my phone. So I think it was like early in the morning. I got on my phone. I got on Facebook and I saw y'all posted it. And I was like, oh, I'm going to text Gabe.
I can't believe I didn't text, because sometimes I'll be the guy that like will see a text, forget about it, forget to respond, and then 2 days later I'll respond like we never left the conversation. You know, I'll usually preface it by saying late text, but then I respond to said person.
Yep, Monday at 10.
Does that make me a psychopath, by the way?
No.
I respond like a week later sometimes to somebody, and they asked me a question a week ago. I finally respond to that question a week later.
No, I don't think. I mean, I think that's some people.
It happens sometimes.
Not really my style, but there are definitely people that do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Monday at 10:40 a.m. Just saw the post from the gender reveal. Haven't been on my phone much at the beach. Congratulations, brother. So excited for you and Taylor. Got to start on the drills early.
Let me go ahead and find it.
Crickets.
Let me go see it. Oh shoot! And you put the eyeball emoji too.
Yep.
It's right there. It's right there. No response. Didn't even like it. So you know what? I'm gonna heart it right now. Look, I just hearted it. Just hearted it. There's my response.
Yep. Hey, you're right on time. It's a week later.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for the kind words.
Yeah. It's okay. It's okay. I'll take it.
My bad, dude. Seriously. My bad.
So nothing for you this weekend. Chill, getting ready to be a father, getting ready for the homeward life. What did I do? I got back from the beach on Saturday, went straight to a 2-year-old's birthday. Like literally got home from the beach at 4:00, was at a 2-year-old's birthday at 5:30. I was pretty shot. And then came home.
Isn't that kind of like a welcome back to reality? Going to a 2-year-old birthday party with all the kids running around screaming.
So it started at like 2 and we didn't get there until 5:30. So it was really just like our friends that were left over there, which made it a little bit better. There wasn't as many people. And we only stayed for like an hour and a half, 2 hours just to drop in and give a gift and be gone. So it wasn't too bad.
And you slept the rest of the night, I'm assuming?
Yeah. I was pretty shot. I think I watched one episode of the new Receiver show on Netflix.
Great show, by the way.
Yeah. I got the first episode out of the way. That's it. And then yesterday, played golf.
There you go. You got the bug, dude. I like it.
Bad.
The Receiver show's wild, though. Seeing the Amon-Ra St. Brown injury and such, like that's wild to think he played with a torn oblique his entire season.
Yeah.
He caught for 1,500 yards, set a wide receiver record for contract before it got broken, of course, but then set the record for wide receiver contract this offseason.
Yeah, dealing with the toe injury and then straight to the oblique injury.
And the oblique was just torn off.
Yeah, like, completely off.
Nothing he could do about it until the offseason.
Would he sit for 1 week and that was it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think he sat for 1 week against the Panthers.
He strikes me as a just like no-nonsense guy.
I mean, you saw his dad.
Does not bullshit around at all. His dad was like a Mr. Universe, wasn't he?
Yeah, and he was training them pretty much from day one. I remember seeing something when they were in college because I think Equanimous is what, 1 year or 2 years older than Amon-Ra?
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
Yeah, he is.
But I remember when they were coming up, they were both pretty highly ranked because Equanimous went to Notre Dame and Amon-Ra, I think, was a 5-star and went to USC. Their last name is not Saint Brown. Their last name is Brown, and their dad added Saint to their name because he was like, this is going to look good on a jersey when my kids make it. Like when they were like 8 years old, they started going by Saint Brown, and that's not really their name. The last name is just Brown. I think it showed it when it showed his Mr. Universe clip. It was just John
here's
Brown.
The other thing is like if you name your kids Equanimous and Amon-Ra, they better not be shitty at sports. Yeah. They better not be shitty at whatever they do. Like Amon-Ra is like the Egyptian god.
Yeah.
Like the overall Egyptian god.
I think there's another one too.
Yeah, they have another kid. I think is there a daughter in that family or is it all boys?
It's Osiris okay. St. Brown.
Good God. Osiris, Equanimous, and Amon-Ra.
I guess those are all. I know Osiris is Egyptian as well.
Yeah, so. But Amon-Ra is like almost. I thought that was like the overall Egyptian god, like
something like that.
It's like the supreme god in ancient Egyptian culture. Yeah, he couldn't be bad at what he decided to do. And also, I don't know if Amon-Ra St. Brown is like a geologist would hit the same. Like
No,
if he was in any other line of work, I don't know.
No, he's in the right line
for sure.
So yeah, Amon-Ra was a 5-star, number 2 overall receiver in the country, coming out of high school. Let's see what Equanimous was.
Equanimous, he was up there.
I think he was also, yeah.
But I think Amon-Ra was always the better one.
Yeah, he was a 3-star, and then let's see the other brother because he played Division I, but did not make it. He was a 4-star. He was actually rated higher than Equanimous.
Osiris was?
Yeah.
Okay. Osiris, Equanimous, and Amon-Ra is just like crazy work, though.
It is.
Holy hell.
It is. There you go.
Stuff.
There's your history lesson for the day.
All right, now Memphis news. We're not very hot and heavy with Memphis news. I can tell you
we are
that.
not.
But we do have two new ball players on the basketball team.
It's true.
One is more worthy of discussion than the other. I'll go to the one that's we'll just cover this quickly. They have a walk-on by the name of Demarion Yates. He goes by Dink. He's a forward, and he's probably not going to play much. He's a walk-on. The one that does matter, though, is PJ Carter. PJ Carter comes to Memphis from UTSA, where he played last year. He ended up committing to Rice and signing to Rice a month ago. He gets out of that letter of intent. Here comes Slick Rick swooping in last second like he did with Emmanuel Acott a couple years ago when Emmanuel Acott got to campus, and Rick convinced him to go to Western Kentucky. So he did that same thing with PJ Carter, and I think it adds some nice depth, another wing piece. I see no issues with it. I think it's actually pretty valuable to add a little more depth to this team.
Yeah, I think it's a solid addition. I don't think it's anything to get overly excited about, but someone that averaged nearly 10 points per game, 2.5 rebounds, good free throw shooter, good 3-point shooter, shot 40% from the 3-point line last year. Like you said, it's a good depth add. It's another one of those that's not going to raise the ceiling of this team tremendously, but it's one of those pieces that you need, a guy that can potentially come off the bench and play quality minutes, and that's really about all you're going to ask from PJ Carter.
Yeah, I mean, 10 scholarship players, like that. Right. That's what he does. It rounds it out to 10. I mean, I feel uncomfortable sometimes when you get like 8, 9 scholarship players, 8, 9 rotation players. That can get dicey, bro. Yeah. Like that can get into some bad situations. You have just one injury.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think
they already have Baraka Okoji missing for the first part of next year. So like, I think just having that extra body is helpful. And 40% from 3, I can get down with that. More of a catch and shoot guy. He's okay off the dribble, but he's not like elite at it. But this is a guy who's going to stand around the perimeter on the offensive end, find his spots, and hopefully knock down some open threes. And on the defensive end, he can fit in. He's not like elite on that end, but he's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just one of those guys that you hope comes in and does exactly what he's asked to do. You know, but play well in the minutes that he's out there, not try to do too much, fill his role and do what's asked of him, and he's fine. And like you said, it's good injury insurance as well, because you don't want to be in a position where you lose one guy and it derails stuff terribly bad. You have someone that can come in and fill that role if need be, if there is an injury.
Yeah. No, one thing that is like an ongoing conversation with other folks is like, how do you feel about getting these guys from just shit programs, really bad programs? UTSA was 11-21 last year.
Yeah,
they were horrid, really bad. And I don't know if they should have been that bad, because I think 4 of their top 5 scorers have all transferred up. You know, like they had, you know, good off seasons where they were able, or good seasons to where this off season they were able to go. I think one went to UCF. You know, you have PJ Carter at Memphis. Jordan Ivy Curry was their leading scorer, 17 points per game. He transferred up. I think he's the one that went to UCF actually. But I mean, how much do you buy into some of that where it's like PJ Haggerty came from Tulsa. This guy came from UTSA. Some of these guys just came from bad programs and they're taking a step up.
Yeah, I think it's got to be at least a little bit concerning, even if you can see the production and the talent. You have to also peel back the layers and say, well, these players were relied on more at their last stop with lower expectations than they likely will be here outside of PJ Haggerty. Obviously, the expectations for him are very high by fans and by the staff as well. But some of these guys, it's like, okay, if you averaged 10 points per game at UTSA and played 20 minutes a game, I think is around what he played. Yeah, 19.8 minutes per game. So if that was your expectation at UTSA, what's the expectation at Memphis? Is it 12 to 13 minutes a game and 4 or 5 points per game? It's just you have to kind of get your expectations lower. Sounds negative, but you have to kind of you have to temper expectations for these players because they're playing in a completely different environment than they just were. Like most of these guys were some of the better players on their team that were expected to shoulder the load. They're not expected to do that at Memphis. And so it gets a little complicated when looking at that. But I think at least a little bit you have to put expectations down. Not necessarily as a knock on them, just as you have to look at it realistically, saying this is what they're coming from. This is what they did there. Minutes will be lower. Production will likely be lower, and expectations can't be exactly what they did at their previous stop. I think Nick Jourdain last year is a good example of that as well, to kind of give you a at-home example, is he didn't play the same role at Memphis as he did at Temple. He was a lot more important to that Temple team than he was at Memphis. He kind of became more of a rotational guy at Memphis. And not that he was lighting the world on fire or anything, but if you watched the Temple games, it was clear how important he was to them. And for Memphis, it was like, okay, he's got to find his role here. He's not going to be as productive, but he's still important to the team. So I think that's really, when you're looking at guys coming from lower levels up, that's kind of what the expectation has to be set at.
Yeah, and I would imagine for PJ Carter, there shouldn't be any expectation, visions of grandeur. He shouldn't be expecting to be like a main cog, which to me is a positive because it's like you're not upsetting the apple cart. We have somewhat of an idea of what this pecking order is going to be with PJ Haggerty and Tyrese Hunter at the top. Just add some role players around the way, some guys that, in the event of an injury or in the event of foul trouble, stuff like that, we can throw these guys in there, give them some rotational minutes, and we're not going to fall off a cliff. I think PJ Carter fits into that category really well.
Couldn't agree more. Gabe, what else are we going to talk about?
No, I don't know. I think we can just hop into a hot three early. Is that? Can we do that?
Yeah, is
that possible, Kenny? Kenny, can we pass this over to you when he joins in? Oh,
I'm here, boys.
Yeah, so are we hopping in? Are we just going to go straight in?
Well, with what's it called? It takes a little bit to get all of it set up over here on StreamYard. Okay. So let me give me a second while we wait.
Right.
I want to play y'all as I'm getting this ready. I want to play y'all. Apparently, the worst national anthem of all time just happened at the Home Run Derby. Are y'all ready for this?
Who did it?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out. Ready?
Okay.
See if y'all can hear it. I'm gonna get stuff ready while this is playing.
Okay. Oh, it's going in and out, buddy. This audio quality, buddy.
Oh, it's going to get worse.
I'll tell you what.
Are you ready for this? Can you hear it?
No.
It's like in and out.
It kind of comes in and out. We're not getting the full effect.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I don't know.
I might play it. I'll play it. I'll put the audio over that part real quick.
Okay.
It's great. Right. It's great. Okay. By the way, I got a bone to pick with both of y'all. Before we start this hot three, I got a bone to pick with both of y'all. So let me get this music going real quick.
Okay.
Okay. Here we
All
go.
right.
Now I feel ready to go. Bone to pick with both of you. First off, we jump in our little pre-show meeting, and the first thing that Gabe says is, Christian,
you're going to misquote me.
I'm so glad you're back. Last week sucked.
Okay.
Without you. That's what I heard. Is that not true?
That's not what he. That's not verbatim what he said.
Not at all what I said.
I
see where you could have lost what I said in the context.
I'm like
in translation.
I was on the show with you last week.
No. I said you picked a bad time to go out of town because we could have used three voices. Last week was a slow ass sports time.
All I heard
was
Kenny,
admit that.
Kenny, you suck. I need Christian back on the show. And then here's my bone to pick with Christian. Only Christian can take the news of a gender reveal video and turn it around to where it's all about him.
Well, okay.
How dare you not text me back, Gabe?
No,
no, not even saying anything about the fact that, hey, man, you're gonna have a son, a high-level Division I project. This is coming. This man turns it on himself and is like, you didn't text me back.
And I just caught it in stride, didn't I, Kenny? I didn't even put
you handled it well.
Going back at his ass.
I'm giving no opportunity for retort here. If you notice, go back and listen. I said, you guys talked about this last week, right? And he was like, yeah, it was like, we already talked about it.
Yeah, man.
So me going into the whole spiel was old news. I was going to recap old news there. So instead of bringing back old news and staying relevant and up to date, I filled everyone in on what happened behind
Instead of bringing up old news, I made it about myself.
True.
Translation.
But here, bringing it all back around to this, how can I, in good faith, sit here and tell Gabe how happy I am and, congratulate him and Taylor? If Taylor was sitting there, I would happily gloat over the fact of how excited I am for them and how they're going to be incredible parents. But when the love was not reciprocated back to me, then I've got to go there. I've got to go there.
Got to go there.
I hear you.
I mean, it was like we're pumping Gabe up.
This though, on the same token, Kenny, you take things like situations or like things that are said to you and translate them however the hell you want to translate them.
It's my special talent.
Like the meaning behind
it's a special talent.
Him bringing it up the text. Yep. That's probably the meaning behind it's not to just generally make it about himself. It's probably to give me shit. That's just what it is.
That's a special.
When I said that it was you picked a bad week to go out of town, what I was meaning really slow news time. I
heard was Kenny, you suck.
And Kenny, you heard that I basically told you to F off. Like that's
what I heard.
He's trying to make both of us look like the bad guys right now. Yeah. And really, he's like up there spinning this web.
I'm here. Yeah. I'm just here trying to help out, boys. I don't know. Like, I'm just trying to. Anyway.
I said you picked a bad week to go out of town. He's like, did you just say I'm shitty at my job?
Exactly.
Is that what you just said?
Speaking of things that are not shitty. NCAA college football 25 released on the day that we are recording it, released at 3 p.m. today. Boys, Christian, you said you've been playing it all afternoon.
Correct.
Gabe, have you had a chance to look at it yet?
I'm not getting it till Friday. I didn't do the pre-order.
Oh, no.
No pre-order.
Christian, give us your first initial thoughts.
First initial thoughts. Blissful joy would be initially. I pressed the button, turn it on, and we're back. It's like I just got transported back to my 15, 16-year-old.
Like, were you a little giddy? Were you like, did you get like shivers? Like,
yeah, it was just like
chills.
Like a kid again, dude. I haven't booted up a new college football game in, what is it? 10 11 years.
Yeah.
10, 11 years. So, I mean, I was 15, 16 years old when the last one came out.
Crazy.
And seeing the gameplay, man, I'm giddy.
Yeah, like
I can't wait till Friday when I actually get it.
It plays so smooth. It's wonderful. Like
what I like about it is it's like the last time they did it. It's a lot of stick work, right? And you don't have. It's like Madden sometimes the stick work. It's like it slows you down. It's uncomfortable. It's forced at times. Seems like this is very similar to when we left off. You get in and out.
And sometimes it's just Madden stuff is so unrealistic and. College Football 25 is not. It felt very realistic. The playbooks are pretty cool. They're pretty diverse, and they're based on teams, at least from what I've seen so far. It plays really, really smooth, which sometimes, like I said, Madden's clunky. Sometimes, like, biggest thing to me, sometimes, like, with the stick work and stuff, like you're saying, sometimes it's too, like, sometimes the movement is so
I change direction, and they have no acceleration.
Right.
Whereas this one, it seems like you change direction, and it keeps you going.
Right. Or, like, when you juke, and you move like 5 yards out of the way and no one can tackle you when you juke. Like, it's not like that in College Football 25. Penalties are realistic, which is really cool because you know how in Madden it glitches and it won't call pass interference. They don't call late hits and unnecessary roughness and stuff like that. They call all that in College Football 25. Very well done.
All right.
I was very, very.
Did you play with Tennessee first couple games and start a dynasty?
Yeah, I did a Tennessee game and then started a dynasty and trying to figure out, all the recruiting and stuff like that, because it's so much more in depth than it was on the 14 game. So just trying to figure that out, set up the big boards. I'm excited to do the transfer portal as well when I really get into the season.
So this is how we'll relate it back to Memphis, since we were a little short on Memphis content. I have every rating for every player on Memphis.
First off, as a whole, they're ranked 85 out of 100.
And that's number one in the group of 5. So
number one in the group of 5. Yeah.
Team in the group of 5. Their top 5 are as follows overalls. Seth Hennigan is at an 89. He's number 1. I think that's a fair rating. I think that it could boost up depending on what he does the first few weeks too, because I have a feeling with the 2 wide receivers coming back, he's going to light the world on fire. Rock Taylor's he's number 2, 88 overall.
Fair.
Then you have Xavier Hill at number 3, the right guard. He's at 86 overall, and he played right tackle. He's played all over the O-line. Demir Blankopsy is 4th at an 85 overall. And this other one, it's a tied for 4th or 5th, whatever you want to call. I think this is too low for this guy. Chandler Martin at 85. I'm sorry. I know that this Memphis defense wasn't good a year ago, but he was the bright spot. He was first team all conference.
Yeah.
I think he should be up at like an 88.
Yeah, I was thinking somewhere between 88 and 90.
Yeah, it amazes me that he's that low. New guy coming in. New guys, Mario Anderson Jr., 84 overall. 90 speed's probably a little high for him.
A little high.
Hey, it is what it is. Elijah Herring, 83 overall. Taj Rael, who's a strong safety, 81 overall. Trent Holler coming in along the O-line, an 80 overall. And then that's really where I'm going to leave it off, because now we're getting into the weeds a little bit too much.
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty fair. The transfer rankings are pretty fair.
Yeah, where would I be, guys? Come on, give me my ranking. Give me
now?
My rating. Going from junior to senior year. Not now. Right now, I'd be like a 42.
What was your
and injured? I'd be on the injured reserve the whole time.
You'd what would you be in the game if you were in the game?
If I was junior to my senior year, where would you rate me?
You probably would have been like an 83.
Okay. So I couldn't get to the Xavier Hill 86. That's too high.
I'm surprised he's that high.
Yeah.
What do you okay, not what do we think you were. I'm saying what I think you would have been.
Honestly, you said 83. I've been asked this question. I was actually on with so Colby Cox, long snapper, has a podcast, and he brought me on last week. They asked me this question, him and Jonah Gamble, and I said 84. So, I was right there with you. 83, 84, somewhere around there would be fair for me.
Yeah.
What did Jonah say? Did Jonah give what he thought he was going to be, or did he already know?
No, he had no idea. He ended up being, let's see.
78.
78,
right?
Yeah, 78. 78 overall. Yeesh. Golly.
Did he say what he thought he was going to be?
No, I didn't. No. I didn't ask them. I was the interviewee. I wasn't the interviewer. I should have gone back and asked them.
You should have asked.
Colby, get this. So they don't do long snappers. This is hilarious. Colby, they don't do long snappers, like list you as a long snapper on the game, because what they'll do is you have your center, and your center just automatically becomes a long snapper, which is like, guys, figure this out. Not that hard to put in a damn long snapper. Colby actually ended up being listed as a tight end, and he has the worst rating on Memphis's team, a 55 overall.
That's so painful.
For my man Colby, that's brutal.
That's
terrible.
You got to go back and do that podcast and ask Colby how he's feeling.
I wish I would have done it this week. I would have flamed both of them. I would have got.
I can't wait. I can't wait until you get it though, Gabe, because I can't wait until next week when we get to talk about it, because I know you're gonna feel like a little kid when you play.
Oh, I know. Once I see the opening screen, I'm just gonna. I know I'm gonna get the goosebumps and everything else.
It's awesome.
They even have. I saw somebody in our Discord post. They played UAB versus Memphis, and they even have the Battle of the Bones trophy in it.
They like back in the day, like 14. Like if you played with Memphis and you were playing at home during a dynasty, they would have none of the pregame stuff going on.
No,
but they made the pregame stuff pretty realistic. Coming out of the tunnel, and they even have Memphis's fight song.
Yeah.
Which they didn't really have.
Oh, so cool.
In the whole game, they only had like the really good the top end Power 5 teams fight songs playing in those moments. They did that.
They got everyone. the attention to detail and the depth that they went in on each team is awesome.
What's cool is the inner, like the fan stuff. If you're good, like if you're rebuilding a program in Dynasty, there'll be no fans in the stands.
Yeah,
but it'll continue. If you win games, it'll start to
get more people there. Yeah,
adjusting fan reactions pretty cool. Like the attention to detail, like you said, is honestly pretty insane.
Yeah.
Do you remember how long? Speaking of detail, how long did Chris Fowler say it took them to actually record all of the calls? Didn't they do like
250 hours or something like that?
Crazy, man.
Yeah. No, they put a lot of work into it, and they've got 2 broadcast teams on there, which is super cool. Like you have your Jesse Pollock team. Who else?
Or David Pollock.
Yeah. No, Jesse Palmer. Sorry.
Jesse Palmer.
It's like Jesse Palmer. That team's like Jesse Palmer and his team, and then you can switch it to like do a big game one where it's Kirk Herbstreit and Chris Fowler. It's Jesse Palmer, Reese Davis.
David Pollock's in there somewhere, right?
Yeah, maybe. But it's cool. They have multiple different broadcast teams. You can.
What's that?
Sorry, that was my phone.
You can go in and you can before you start the game, you can pick any bowl game. Like they have every bowl game, so you can make any game like whatever bowl game you want to. It's very expensive.
I'm looking forward to it. No doubt.
It's awesome. All right, Kenny, what are we talking about next?
All right, let's go to Grizzlies Summer League. They are playing right now as we speak. They're playing Dallas in their second game in Las Vegas. They're up 38-21. Looks like their starting center for next year, Trey Jemison, will be started this. I'm just joking. The big problem. I think a lot of Memphis fans are like freaking out a little bit already because Zach Edey hasn't played outside of that first game that he played.
No reason.
What do you think? I mean, should they just shut him down? Should they just go ahead and announce, hey, we're shutting him down for the rest of the summer?
No. Why would you do that? What's the point? Why? I know people are like, oh, the first game he had 14 points, 15 rebounds, 4 blocks. We've seen everything we need to see. No, you haven't.
Let him play.
I mean, for God's sakes, he's got to be out there he's going to have to be out there during the regular season for 20 to 25 minutes a game at a faster speed than he's ever played in college. He's only been playing for 6 years. I don't know why you'd just shut him down and say, oh, I've seen everything I need to see. That's ridiculous to me. Now, if it has to do with his ankle and it's like bad, then sure, sit him down. But it's not, clearly. I mean, he rolled his ankle in the first game. He came in a minute and a half.
Right.
You can sit him down for a couple of games, be careful with it, but he should play again in Summer League. I don't get where the Grizzlies are trying to be this cautious with him.
Yeah.
He's going to have to be going against other bigs that are 300 plus pounds during the regular season. He's going to have to deal with some bumps and bruises. I think right now is an okay time to try to
get those in.
Get those minutes, that learning process in.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it's one of those things where let him slowly adjust. Like, obviously, he had a very good first outing. Let him continue to acclimate. We've seen people have great summer league games and it not translate. Like, it's not the end all be all, and we all know that. So it's like, let him continue to not only take the physical like bumps and bruises, but let him take the play. Like, let him have the ups and downs of having really good games and having games where he doesn't make much of an impact. Like, let him feel the kind of the roller coaster and the up and down and the ebbs and flows of the professional game, even though it's not at the everyday regular season level. Like, let him get acclimated to it. And if there is bumps and bruises, if there's a rolled ankle, like it's only July, it's okay. Like, let him through these things and continue to grow as a player going into preseason and regular season. I'm with Gabe. Put him in there. Let him play.
And then the other stories would be like GG Jackson along the way, right? His first game was miserable, 0 for 10 from 3, shot chucking. I think he's come into his own, but for him, I don't know how much we're learning from Summer League about GG Jackson, really. And the reason I say that is because his role for the big club, being in the rotation next year, is not going to be that of what he did at the end of the year last year. Right. He's going to have to learn how to make an impact with less shots. And I don't think he's learning that in Summer League because he's still the guy. He's got to be a leader. He's got to be a shot taker.
Yeah. I think what they wanted from him more than anything was just to be a playmaker, right? Like you be a playmaker. And unfortunately, I don't think we're seeing a lot of that right out of him right now. We're seeing a lot of shots, which is fine, but that's not what, I think that's going to be his ceiling, I think, is what is he able to do playmaking wise? Can he produce shots for other players when he's out there? Like,
can you lock in defensively?
Yeah, can you lock in defensively? But let me ask you this. The storylines that are coming out of a little bit, I think, are Memphis fans' obsession with guys who are probably not going to have a massive role for the main roster, right? Like obsession with Scotty Pippen Jr. What are y'all's thoughts on the backup point guard role? Like, is Scotty Pippen Jr. a guy that you look at and go, I would feel comfortable bringing him onto the main roster, even though he is on a two-way contract right now? Like, I'd feel comfortable bringing him in as a backup point guard, or do you say, hey, listen, man, you're a good player, but that's not the role we need you. Like, we don't need you as the backup point guard. Like, what are your guys' thoughts on that?
Scotty Pippen Jr. to me, and I've been saying this for a while, like, I'll say this, Memphis and the Grizzlies fans are the brains are warped after last year. Like, and I get it, though. Like, it's actually explainable. There were 33 different guys that suited up for the Grizzlies last year. You had 50 separate starting lineups. You were the most injured team in NBA history. So, numbers 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15, all your 3 two-way spots, G League call-ups, 10-day contracts, they all mattered last year. And you were evaluating all of them. And I don't know if we're out of that mindset yet. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like it feels like everything matters.
I think you're exactly right. I think after what Grizzlies fans experienced last year with all the players that had to get on the floor, now it's looking around like, okay, if this is going to be the norm, like, let's watch what these guys do in the summer league, and we're going to pay close attention to it, and we're going to read way between the lines on it. And I think
everything, Christian,
and I'll say this,
everything.
Yeah,
Scotty Pippen Jr., man,
right?
He's a baller.
I think after this year,
he's a baller.
Convert his contract after this year.
Yeah.
Why?
Get him off of this guy, because I think Scotty Pippen Jr. actually can be a really good backup point guard.
Yeah.
Like, literally, I see a lot of Tyus in him on the offensive end, where it's the assist to turnover ratio. Always really good.
Efficient.
He's pretty efficient, although he's been taking a lot of shots in summer league, but that's just sort of the product of summer league. But here's the thing where I think he's got something on Tyus, although Tyus is a better player ultimately. He can play some on-ball defense against other point guards. He is feisty. He gets knockaways. He can run the floor. I don't know, Kenny, I know that, like, it feels like right now, we're hyper-evaluating a guy like Scotty Pippen Jr. But when I watch him play, even with the big club last year, he showed a lot. He showed a bunch of promise, and he's still relatively young. Yeah, I think that going into the future, if you want a cost-controlled backup point guard, which I don't know anybody who wants an expensive backup point guard, so I don't even know why I'm adding that qualifier.
Except for everybody freaked out when they didn't get Tyus Jones for $14 million.
Right, I agree.
You wanted to spend $38 million on your point guard position. Like,
but once you get off that Derrick Rose contract and get a roster spot open, I would absolutely convert Scotty Pippen Jr., and I wouldn't even think twice about it.
I've got another name for you, though. Instead of Scotty Pippen Jr., my boy Cam Spencer.
Oh, I love.
What do you guys think, dude? Have y'all seen him?
I'm obsessive about the guy, man. I was thinking about this the other day. Like, Jalen Wells gets the active roster spot because they want to develop him because he's 20. But I almost think Jalen Wells would be better served on the two-way so he could play games.
Yeah.
On a G League roster that's going to need him.
Yep.
Like, Cam Spencer's 24 years old. He is who he is. I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying they did it backwards and that I'm, like, offended by it and I think they did this whole thing wrong. But, like, if you sort of read between the lines there, it kind of would make more sense to have Cam Spencer on the active roster and Jalen Wells as a two-way. But I'm not gonna upset the apple cart with that take.
I'm a big Cam Spencer fan. I love the way he plays, and he's automatically, like, you just know what you're gonna get from him.
He's a dog, bro.
He can shoot the ball well from the 3-point line, and he's a dog defensively. Like, it's pretty incredible.
And he's good on ball too. He's not bad on ball.
Yeah,
he's got that combo guard ability that you're just like, damn, man, he can do a lot of things on a basketball floor.
Yeah, it's very obvious how much time he's he spent at the collegiate level and how well coached he is, and that he's rarely out of position. He does a lot of things well. Right now, he's 11 points, 5 of 7 from the floor. And we were talking about Scotty Pippen Jr. He's got 12 points and 6 assists and 6 of 8 from the floor. So,
yeah. But do y'all hear me on that Jalen Wells, Cam Spencer thing at least a little bit?
I mean, because I understand you, because it's like if something happened and you needed one of those guys to play, wouldn't you rather it be Cam Spencer than Jalen Wells, just knowing how experienced he is? I mean, I think so too.
But I guess it could still be that guy, but he'd have to be on a game restriction or whatever.
Right.
But also, I like the practice part of this whole thing. It's like, are they like Jalen Wells, since he's not on a two-way, I mean, can he be optioned to the hustle and play with them? Like, how does that work? That's my question.
I think he can be, but I don't. Well,
I wonder how much he's going to do.
Yes, I'm sure he can be.
I think a guy like that at 20 years old would be better served than Cam Spencer at 24 to play a bunch of G League games.
I agree with that.
But maybe that's something that they had to talk about with the age. He got picked at 39, and he was. Right. Some people even had him late first round, so maybe they had to talk with the agent and be like, "Dude, he's got to get an active roster spot, or don't even take him."
Yeah.
So, hey, it's
interesting. I will say this, kind of bring it back to the Tigers for a second. It's been kind of sad to see DJ Jeffries not get any run whatsoever for this Grizzlies summer league team. Like Christian, me and you covered DJ back in high school.
Yeah.
Has his God, I want this to sound as respectful as possible, but has his lack of growth as a ball player kind of been as surprising to you as it is to me? Like, just a lack of like developing skills, like adding to his skill set. Like, it just seems to be, he seems to be the exact same player he was at Olive Branch.
Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree. And like you said, it's not like a disrespect thing. It's just an objective viewing of what's happened throughout his career. I mean, at one point he was a 5-star and the number 1 or number 2 overall player in the country.
Top 5 player in his class.
Yeah. I think his junior year, coming out of his junior year, he was a top 5 player in the country and kind of fell off a little bit. I think he ended around most places around 45, 50, some places maybe in the 60s or 70s. But he was always a highly ranked player, and it was like if you can continue to develop him, and get the things out of him that he has, I mean, he can be a pro player. And it never really materialized. Even when he transferred to Mississippi State, it's not like he really added much to his game. He kind of was just a role player there. Like, he wasn't a superstar at Mississippi State. He just kind of did his thing. I think he did a little bit more of the dirty work at Mississippi State, rebounded pretty well, but
I think he added some defense to his game. Like, I think he became one of their better defenders.
I think you're talking about more offensively.
100% offensively is what I'm talking about.
Because the potential was unlimited when he was coming out of high school.
He never used his physicality at the rim. I never understood that about him when he was at Memphis. And I think that carried over to Mississippi State.
Yeah.
I mean, you're 6'8", 250 pounds, dude. Like, put your head down and go get to and you're really athletic.
Yeah.
Get to the rim. Embarrass some folks. And he never really took that contact at the rim very well.
Yeah, and not to be like too skeptical, but I don't think he ever reached the peak that he reached towards the end of his freshman year before he hurt his knee. Because before he hurt his knee at the end of his freshman year, like, he was well on his way to being a superstar. He was one of the best players on that team right before he got injured. He was incredible. And it just never really reached that peak again. So not trying to be skeptical there, or not skeptical, not trying to
critical
critical. Yeah, I'm not trying to, cause a story that's not there. Just it never was the same from that point on. So
now to the point though about him not playing with Grizz Summer League, I didn't expect him to play a damn minute. I'm gonna be honest with you. It was a late addition. They're limited in roster spots. They gave him a little flyer.
Yeah. All right, Kenny.
Last topic. Obviously, every offseason when there is nothing to talk about, ESPN helps us out by ranking the top players of whatever position. They do this every year, right?
Yeah.
They have started to do that with NFL football. They came out with running backs, defensive tackles, edge rushers, safeties, tight ends, interior offensive linemen, offensive tackles, and then today they dropped their quarterbacks top 10. obviously it's super easy to kind of go through that and get our views on it. But let me go through them real quick. Number 1, Patrick Mahomes. Number 2, Joe Burrows. Number 3, Josh Allen. Number 4, Lamar Jackson. Number 5, Matthew Stafford. Number 6, Justin Herbert. Number 7, CJ Stroud. Number 8, Aaron Rodgers. Number 9, Jared Goff. And number 10, Dak Prescott. What are your boys' thoughts? Like, any of those rankings stick out to you and make you go,
All right, Gabe, I'm going to jump in and I'm going to see if you agree with me on kind of my
I have one that I don't disagree with him being top 10, but it's like that high.
Yeah. So a couple things. Joe Burrow at 2 feels a little bit like too much, and I mean, I read it this morning, so I understand what they're saying. Joe Burrow, when he's been on the field, has been incredible. He was one play away from, winning a Super Bowl in his second season, all these different things. And then they put Josh Allen at 3 and Lamar Jackson at 4. Lamar Jackson, 2-time MVP. Josh Allen is incredible. I think he has the most touchdowns in the league since he entered the league, but they want to harp on his turnovers and decision making, which I get that. It's a weak point for him, but I don't think Joe Burrow should have been 2 or 3. I think he should have been 4. I think he should have been behind Lamar and Josh Allen in whatever order you want to flip those. Also, Matthew Stafford at 5 is a little
That's
strange.
what I'm like, buddy.
Matthew Stafford at 5 is strange. Aaron Rodgers at whatever
9.
he was, 8 or 9. Was he 8 or 9? 8. Strange. This one is probably going to be the most unpopular one, but I'll give my opinion on it. I think Justin Herbert at 6 is ridiculous. I think that's ridiculous. Like, I understand he's probably the most talented quarterback in the league, but what has he done to be number 6? And y'all are going to call me a homer for this, but let me lay it out there. Dak's at 10, Herbert's at 6. And their reasoning for Dak being at 10 is because in crunch time, when it matters, he doesn't show up. Okay, I get that. Justin Herbert's 30-32 in his career. He has a losing record in his career.
To be fair, I'm not gonna go after you for your thoughts on Justin Herbert, but I think that you need to add context to every situation.
Of course.
Justin Herbert, since he came into the league, people don't realize this, he has the second most go-ahead or game-winning drives in the league since he came into the league.
Yeah.
The reason that he doesn't come through in the fourth quarter, that's how he's viewed, is because he has to do it every single game.
And that's fair.
Playing for the damn Los Angeles Chargers. And this is the other stat that throws me off about Justin Herbert. Through his first few since he came into the league,
4 years,
his offense set the record for most points in that span. His defense also set a record for most points given up in that same span. So it's I think when you look at a list like this, and think about it, it's execs, it's scouts, it's coaches, all ranking their top 10 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
When you look at his statistics and you look at his age and the upward trajectory he could have, would I start my franchise with this guy?
But that's not what they're ranking
on the field to show me that he's an elite quarterback. I think he's done that.
That's not what they're ranking on. Aaron Rodgers is 8 and Matthew Stafford is 5, and those are the 2 oldest quarterbacks in the league. I'm
not saying that's what they're ranking on. They're also ranking it on statistics he's put out there. They're ranking it on, can he make the throws? Can he show up every Sunday, throw for 300 yards, few touchdowns? Yes, he can do that.
Yeah.
There's been some really good quarterbacks that have been stuck in bad situations.
But then I would turn that around and ask y'all, if that's the case, then how can CJ Stroud be number 7 after 1 year? Right?
Because that year was
awesome. One of the best rookie years ever for a quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with that. I think he's a phenomenal player, but aren't they kind of projecting out with him instead of
No, I don't think they're I mean, a little bit, yes, you have, because it's only 1 year, but I mean, you're not really projecting anything. I mean, you're looking at a quarterback who took care of the ball, was accurate, got upgrades at weapons, all these things.
Yeah.
I know people are going to say the sophomore slump, and it's 1 year. You got to prove it. But if you line them up and you're not saying, who am I taking for the future? Because I don't really necessarily think that's what this is.
I think it's like a overall question. However you view it, whatever your semantics around top 10 quarterbacks.
Exactly.
That's what you're voting.
It's like, okay, project them out. Who do you want for the season? Project them out. Who do you want for a game? Project them out. Who do you want for a career? Like whatever basis you use, it's hard not to put CJ Stroud up there.
I think he could put himself into like, if he comes out this year and puts himself in an MVP race, which let's not fool ourselves, part of last year he was in the MVP
100%.
race, like very much in it.
100%.
If he does it again this year, like we might be talking about this guy as a top 5 guy easily going into next year.
Yeah, easily.
But I get what you mean. It's been 1 year and everything went so well. Okay, let's see him do it in his second year, and then I'll throw him in the top 10. I get it.
It's not crazy to think about because you look at this list of the top 10 quarterbacks, and it's not that impressive after 4, in my opinion. Like after the top 4, it's not really impressive. You can here's how I judge that. After the top 4, you can take those next 6 and flip them anyway, and I probably wouldn't argue with you.
Yes. Now here are the honorable mentions, and this is I want to play a game. Most likely and least likely to break into this list going into next year.
Okay, well, that's a good
so you
game.
got Brock Purdy, Jordan Love, Jalen Hurts, Tua, Kirk Cousins, and Trevor Lawrence. Most likely, least likely to hop into the top 10 by this time next year.
It's so hard because I've got 2 that I really want to go with, and I think
I have most likely for me.
I've got 2. I'm going to do 2 most likely, and if you make me choose one, I will. But I got 2 most likely, and I think both of them will be in that top 10 next year. I think it'll be Brock Purdy and Jordan Love. I think they'll both be in there.
I think that's fair. I was going to say Jordan Love without question.
Yeah.
I fucking love that guy, man.
Too.
He's so good at football. He really is.
I do too. And you just look at San Francisco. Like San Francisco's not going to stop. They're not going to slow down. They've got all the weapons in the world outside of like something happening with Brandon Ayuk, whether he holds out or they trade him. If they've got their full repertoire, Brock Purdy.
I know what you mean. I get what you mean. But then the conversation for a lot of these guys is like, okay, Jordan Love's doing it with Romeo Dobbs,
exactly,
and a hurt Christian Watson.
100%. I would definitely take
Brock
Jordan.
Purdy's got everything.
I'm definitely taking Jordan Love over Brock Purdy. But I think both of those guys will be in the top 10 next year.
Can I be completely for real with you? Completely down. It's going to be hot take for people. Least likely to be in this top 10 going into next year. I guess you could throw the old guy Kirk Cousins in there, although I think he'll have a good year. I'm sorry. I think Trevor Lawrence is one of the most overrated quarterbacks in the National Football League.
100%. If you would have let me go first, that was 100%.
That's least likely. I think he's going to have another year like he did last year, which was thoroughly average. Go look at the tape. Go look at the stats. As average as a quarterback could play, that was Trevor Lawrence last year.
And it's probably going to get worse.
Right.
I mean, I know they added Brian Thomas and Gabe Davis, but they lost Calvin Ridley, who opened everything up for that passing game last year.
Yeah, but Brian Thomas, straight line speed, big guy, deep threat. We'll see how that all translates. I mean, Gabe Davis, like, come on. He was never what the Bills actually wanted him to be. No. Do we expect him to be what he's supposed to be with the Jags? Hell no.
No.
And then Christian Kirk, I guess, is still there for him. But
right. He's still got Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram, but those are underneath possession guys. He doesn't, in theory, have anyone to really take the top off the defense consistently like Calvin Ridley could have. So I'm 100% in lockstep with you on Trevor Lawrence on that one.
Yeah. All right. So if you do that, if you add those 2 guys in, Jordan Love and who was the other one that you mentioned?
You said Brock
Purdy. Brock Purdy. You said Brock Purdy.
Who do you take out?
If you add Brock Purdy and Jordan Love, you got to take 2 out of that top 10 from this year. Who's out?
Aaron Rodgers is out.
Wow. And based on what you said about Herbert, I don't know.
No, I don't. I mean, I'm not a Herbert hater. I think that a lot of people crown him too much. I think he gets too much credit. Not that I don't think he's incredible, because he is, but I think he gets too much credit. The only reason I would potentially go Herbert, though, is because he has nothing.
No one to throw to, and they're going to run the hell out of the ball.
He has nothing around him.
What do you mean, Quentin Johnston? You ain't a Quentin Johnston fan? Come on.
No.
One of the worst rookie years for a first-round wide receiver we've ever seen.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers 100%, and then the other one, I mean, it could be Dak. It could be Dak. It could be Stafford, and it could be Herbert. Those were the three you kind of got to throw it up against, because Stafford, can he stay healthy? If he is healthy, he's probably productive because he's still got Kyron Williams. They added Blake Corum. They still got Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. It's hard to see him falling off too much unless it's just physical ability or injury.
We've been waiting for his elbow to just explode for the last 3 years.
Herbert, it's kind of easier to see a path where he doesn't put up the same numbers because, I mean, who's he throwing to? Josh Palmer, Quentin Johnston, Ladd McConkey. He doesn't really have a repertoire of weapons to throw to.
His tight end is a blocking tight end, Will Dissly.
Right. Will Dissly and Donald Parham. Like, he doesn't have much there either.
Oh, he's got Hayden Hurst. I forgot about
yeah, they did add Hayden Hurst. You're right. And then Dak, it's just like, okay, are they going to be able to run the ball? If not, do you get what you got last year, or do you get what you got 2 years ago? It's just kind of up in the air for all three of those guys. One of those, but definitely not. I just don't see Aaron Rodgers having an incredible season. Could be wrong. Could eat crow on that. He could come back and win another MVP for all we know. But it just.
Well, but he was in. Well, I mean, this is a guy who missed mandatory minicamp because he had a predetermined date to go to. He went to Egypt. He was on a vacation in Egypt.
Right.
It's like, when mandatory minicamp's coming up, you jackass.
Yeah, it's true.
Like, why did you schedule an Egypt trip right over it?
True. All right. Well,
all right. Real quick.
Yep.
Who is the number one? I think you've seen it, Christian. Gabe, have you seen who the number one ranked running back is? Top 10? Who do you think it would be?
Christian McCaffrey. Got to be.
Okay. Yeah. Christian McCaffrey. It's kind of an interesting list. Number 2, Breece Hall. What do y'all think?
So fair.
Fair? Okay.
Okay. I mean, I'm not gonna push back too hard, but damn.
Nick Chubb, number 3.
That's who I thought would be number 2, but he's coming off injury.
Saquon Barkley, number 4.
Fair.
Jonathan Taylor, number 5.
Okay. I can rock with all those.
And they got Bijan Robinson, number 6.
I just think Breece Hall, that just hearing him at number 2 just
it sounds crazy.
But if you watch him play, I get it. He can catch a ball.
Touch basis with nothing around him, he has been unstoppable with nothing around him in his 2 years.
And he does it all too.
Yes. Receiving, blocking, running the ball. Like, he's incredible.
He did it off injury too. You have to take that into consideration.
Yeah. All right, boys. Well, that is going to do it for this week's episode. I love when we can sit here and just talk about NFL.
I can go another 20 minutes.
And we're getting close. We are getting close to it being football season once again. College football and the NFL are coming up within the next 2 months. So I know we're excited for that. And it gives us not just something to talk about, but the best thing to talk about. But once again, just want to thank you guys for joining us. Want to remind you, if you're watching on YouTube, you can like, subscribe, and comment there wherever you're listening, whether that's Apple, Spotify, or any other podcast platform. You can do all the same things there. You can also head over to bluffcitymedia.co, check out all the articles, podcasts, and videos there. Once again, thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you back here next week.
Thank you for listening to On the Bluff. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Also, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. Head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co for comprehensive coverage of Memphis sports and how you can become an insider.